Who is the top pickup for week number 15? If you held on to your waiver claim, you probably wasted it. If you saved up all your fab money, you got nothing to spend it on moving forward. But not this time, not this week 15. Santa Smitty's coming early, and we're going to talk about the top pickup of the week, Jerick McKinnon, right now. The Fantasy Football Show Waiver Wire edition begins
right now. This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.
Take a lap.
Now, this goes without saying, if Zonovan Knight is available in your league, you got to pick him up. He'd be number one on the waiver wire ranking list if he was available. He's not available in a ton of leagues, so I'm not going to mention him in the rankings, but I want to talk about him at the top just to make sure. If available, Knight would be the top pickup of the week. Jerick McKinnon is probably my top pickup of the entire week. He's definitely the top running back in. And while there's reason to believe they could fade away from McKinnon, go back to Pacheco, go back to McKinnon, but he's been very active on and off all year. Here are his receiving stats on the year, every single game. And of course, week 14 was his biggest week. 7 catches for a $112 and 2 TDs. But there's still good usage and a good track record to say, you know what, they're going to continue to throw to him. From a PPR perspective, he's got a lot of value. In non-PPR, maybe he's not such a locked and loaded number one pickup of the week, but your grandma plays a non-PPR, you should at least be playing it in 0.5. So in PPR or half PPR, this is a really good pickup this late in the year. This is a really good flex player this late in the year with everybody being banged up right now. Confidence level of being the best pickup of the year, we use this scale a lot. If you're new to the channel, I basically try and tell you what my confidence level is that this could be the best pickup of the year. I don't get a 10 or a 9 feeling. I get more of like an 8.5, only because if they continue to throw to him a ton, he could really help you in this final stretch, weeks 15, 16, and 17. So we'll put him around 8, 8.5. I think that's a fair assessment of his impact, and we'll put him number one for running backs. The next best pickup of the week might be Evan Engram, a tight end, because the dude pulled in 11 receptions on 15 targets, 162 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Unbelievable. Now, the week prior, he had 5 catches for 30 yards, but he did have a touchdown. That's 2 weeks in a row he scored a touchdown. That's 3 TDs in 2 games. It's important to note that he had 14 yards, 0 touchdowns, 8 yards, 0 touchdowns the 2 weeks prior. He did have 55 and a score in week 8, but he didn't have a touchdown in weeks 1 through 7. Inconsistent, but guess what? 15 targets for 11 receptions, 162 and 2 TDs. You have my attention. And the most important thing about this, I think, is that Evan Engram, being as good as he was in week 14, and given how good Trevor Lawrence looked, and given Trevor Lawrence is in a zone right now, it makes me feel like whatever is working right now will continue to be what we see going forward. I'm not saying Evan Engram is going to drop 100 yards and a touchdown every game. I'm just saying that if Trevor Lawrence is leaning on Evan Engram and Trevor Lawrence is balling, then Evan Engram stands as a good bet to continue to play well. So not only is he the number 2 pickup of the week, he's the number 1 tight end out of the week. If you're desperate at QB, Brock Purdy looks special. He does. I mean, I'm not going to come out here and say he's the next elite great quarterback on the rise, but I'm also not going to say he's not. I'm also going to say he's surrounded by a bunch of talent. And like I said weeks ago, he's better than Jimmy G. And I think he just proved it. 2 weeks in a row. We'll see what he does on Thursday night against Seattle. But Brock is capable of utilizing all of the talent that's around him, unlike Jimmy G. And so everybody gets an upgrade. Everybody gets a bump. And I said this weeks ago. And I certainly said it last week over and over. And people would say things like,
Smitty, you can't honestly believe Brock Purdy, a rookie, is an upgrade over Jimmy G. Don't we downgrade Deebo?
Everybody got a bump when Brock Purdy came to town. Now, Deebo's injured now. One of Brock Purdy's weapons has been taken away. And some are going to say Deebo might return at some point during the season. I don't think that's the case. I think he comes back for maybe the final week to get like in a groove, you know, run through some snaps or something like that. I cannot see him returning in week number 16 or number 17. I just can't see it. If they do rush him back, then Shanahan is making yet again another reckless decision with his players, his big guns. That isn't great news for Brock Purdy. I mean, Brock Purdy was sitting in a better spot before Deebo went down than he's sitting right now. But I think he throws to Ayuk a ton. Christian McCaffrey's the best friend of any quarterback. Brock Purdy getting 2 touchdowns total a game is not far-fetched at all. If you're struggling at quarterback, Brock Purdy might be a great addition for you. And he probably stands as the third best pickup of the week. I think Chuba Hubbard needs to be added. They're clearly using him a lot if you need an RB. I think DJ Chark is a great wide receiver add. And in case Stevenson is going to be struggling through this ankle injury, which took him out of the game, he went back in, then they took him out again. Depending on how he looks after this game, Damien Harris could regain some fantasy value. Hopefully Stevenson's okay. It's important to note that Damien Harris didn't play in week number 14. Maybe he's not healthy enough for week number 15. So we got to watch this backfield. You've got Pierre Strong, Kevin Harris. We don't know what running back will be the backup. So know that the placement of Harris right here could be swapped out with Strong or the other Harris. But we'll know more probably walking into the morning. But I don't want to hold back the video from helping you right now. So adjust and adapt according to the New England Patriot News, which I'll certainly cover on my Monday through Friday 7 p.m. show. Let's send Stevenson to the moon for good luck.
To the moon.
Jameson Williams is a fantastic wide receiver add. McKenzie is as well. Okonkwo is a good tight end grab. If you need a tight end, he's been consistent lately at a position that a lot of people are struggling at. Taysom Hill, make sure he's not available. He could score at any moment. And if somehow they throw him in at quarterback, they're not going to make the change right now, they announced, but if somehow he gets into the quarterback spot as a tight end, it could be league winning and it's worth a stash. Zamir White's a must grab for any Jacobs owner, but even if you're not a Jacobs owner, he's got the finger issue and he's been struggling through the calf amongst other injuries, so Zamir White's a must grab and hold. Alexander Mattison can win leagues if he ever gets injected into the lineup. Chris Moore's been okay. Ridder is now starting for the Falcons. Connor got injured but came back and scored and looked good, but he's been battling through some injuries, so Engram, the rookie, needs to be grabbed. Paris Campbell's a pretty decent wide receiver add. It goes without saying that if J.K. Dobbins were somehow available, you need to move him to the very top of this list. Again, the same thing goes for Zonovan Knight. Zay Jones, I would put in the category of not likely available in most leagues, maybe like 30 or 40%, but if you need a wide receiver, you could put him in here. I didn't put him in here because his availability in leagues isn't as great as some of these guys. And like if Trevor Lawrence were available, you need to grab him immediately. Oh, we forgot to put Richie James up in here. So those are the top waiver wire grabs for week number 15. Again, assuming that Zonovan, JK, and other big name players aren't available in your specific league. If you've got a dilemma, drop a question in the comments. I try to answer every single comment on my videos for the first 24 or 48 hours that they're up. So ask me a comment and I'll get back to you. And don't forget to get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com. Thefantasyfootballshow.com, your year-round fantasy football rankings, trade calculator, bold predictions, one-on-one text advice, you name it, thefantasyfootballshow.com. And I'm live Monday through Friday, every single Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm live whenever news breaks. I'll see you at 7 p.m.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.